Hey guys, welcome back to an interesting video of Wild Rift. So today we're back with a Varus updated complete guide, and this is pretty much the last Varus build that we're gonna cover, aside from a top build that I might cover as well. But basically, we've covered all of the other Varus builds, and we're gonna cover this on hit one, which I think is the best. But before we really get into it, of course, as usual, don't forget to check out Varus' a basic guide that I'll put up in the cards above for his skills, leveling order, tips and tricks, as well as a couple of combos. But without further ado, let's hop right into it. So first off, his items. So first off, you're going to start with the Gluttonous Greaves as usual for the early AD as well as the Omnivamp. And then we're going to go into the first item, Terminus. Now, of course, Terminus did get a 5 AD nerf way back when. I think it was in like patch 5.2a if I'm not mistaken, but you guys know what I'm talking about. But either way, getting early AD and attack speed still really good. On hit magic damage amazing as well. We of course also have the stacking resistances as well as the stacking penetrations, which is really good for Varus because he does do mixed damage. And then we have the Bork, which of course is going to give you yet again AD and attack speed, same stats. We have the physical vamp as well, and then we also have, of course, the current health on him damage, so particularly useful against tanks, but still pretty good overall, especially because we do have the drain passive, which can deal with both squishies and tanks really well. Then we have Runans. Now, Runans, I think, just works very well in Varus. You can attack 3 people at the same time, which is not just going to allow you to apply your on-hit onto 3 people, but also stack up your bite stacks onto them, which is then going to allow you to pop them for, a lot of extra damage. And then here is where I like to get the Rift Maker, because I think that Rift Maker is a very strong item with the true damage as well as the Omni Vamp. The stat line pretty decent as well, but the Omni Vamp and the true damage is really where it's at. And finally, last item is pretty flexible. I just put Wit's End here because it does still give you, magic resist, on top of giving you just generally good stuff like more on hit, a bit of healing and attack speed. But you can of course swap this out for other defensive items like, like Guardian Angel or things like that. For the runes, I have here Lethal Tempo, because being an on-hit build, I think Lethal Tempo is just simply the best, just for the extra attack speed and attack range. But I do know that Phase Rush on Varus is actually very common nowadays, regardless of the build, so that is a possibility as well, although I still think Lethal Tempo is better when you're going on hit. Brutal, of course, because you attack a lot when you build on hit. Then you have Giant Slayer, of course, to counter the tanks. Also, Coup de Grace could work against squishies as well. And here I like to go for Bloodline because we already got so much attack speed from all of our items. Especially all our first couple items all give attack speed, whereas Omni Vamp only really comes in from here and here. Also a little bit of physical vamp from Bork, but really here it's either Alacrity or Bloodline, kind of a little bit of personal preference. But then here we have Bone Plating for the defensive capabilities, and then for spells we have Flash together with Ghost. You can go for Exhaust as well if you're into a very threat heavy team with a lot of assassins. But with all that said, let's hop into our gameplay now. Alright, so let's take a look at the gameplay itself. But of course, as usual, before we really get into it, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Any questions, queries, or remarks, feel free to leave them in the comments below, and of course be sure to address them. So, I think that Varus has basically been the best ADC in the game for a long time. I kind of say this on all of my Varus videos. I do think that he is a very good ADC. Mostly due to the fact that he can build, he can build on hit, which, is really good against tanks. He can build, like, AP if your team is lacking AP. He can build lethality against an incredibly squishy team. He can even build tank, although I don't really recommend that. I do have, like, 2 videos at least on Varus tank, which even that works, which is kind of, he can literally build, like, any item in the game, I believe. Although some probably wouldn't make too much sense. And, you also have, of course, all of those fusion kind of builds. So I've tried all of the basically main builds, like full on-hit, full AP, full lethality, those kind of builds. And I do think on-hit out of all those are the best builds. However, there is a very popular build with like Essence Reaver into Triforce kind of build, which I do think is really, really solid as well. And between that build and this on-hit build, I'm not quite sure which is the best one. And in a sense that I think both of these are amazing builds. It's just kind of what the situation of the game is. Like in games that you can poke more, I do think that the Essence Reaver build is actually really, really good. But in games that you can, stay safe and auto attack, especially if you have a solid front line, and some supportive champions, I think this build is probably better. So, for example, this game we have a Volibear and Mordekaiser, pretty solid front line, as long as Mordekaiser isn't in his ult. And then we have like Morgana and Soraka, both of which are very supportive champions. So I do think that that makes it a very solid game for playing this like full on hit, Varus kind of build. So here, Jinx is really, really low, and we're trying to actually get her, and here I'm trying to launch a blind arrow. I actually hit her because I couldn't actually see her within my vision range. So I just guessed that she's probably behind the tower. She's either behind the tower or she ran into the tri-bush. So generally, the common places to recall are basically anywhere around your tower, and since I can't see her in front of the tower or beside the tower, I guess that she was behind the tower, and that was actually a pretty, not, I wouldn't say lucky, but it's a pretty educated guess, and it does allow us to be able to take her out. So quick first kill of the game, and obviously that gives us a decent lead, which gives us a longsword advantage against the Jinx, which will of course matter in the long run. Another thing is, this Orianna is actually the support, which is pretty strange. But there is a kind of funny backstory to this Orianna support, which is that this Orianna support is actually my teammate in real life, because we actually participated in a Wild Rift tournament together. Like at this point, it's like 2 years ago, I think. So he was actually our jungler in that tournament, and I know that he basically only plays carry champions. So when he gets like autofilled to support or whatnot, he just picks like a carry champion, which I guess in this case, which is why you see him on the Orianna, which is yeah, pretty interesting one. So yep, so here we managed to catch out the Jinx once again. Unfortunately, I get KS'd by Soraka, which is pretty unfortunate because goal on Soraka, or goal on most supports, like most tanks and enchanters, is not very useful. Like maybe Morgana or Bran, or champions that build actual damage, is not too bad. But on like pure enchanters and pure tanks, gold generally not very useful on them, so it's a little bit unfortunate that support got the kill. So here, Varus, one of the main problems you have with him is his lack of mana. Like when you cast a number of spells, you are kind of going to run out of mana, which basically means that you are going to have to recall periodically to kind of procure more mana so that you can actually use spells. Now, of course, this build focuses a lot on auto attacks, but you still need your spells, right? Even when you're like full build, you still want to be able to pop your spells. So here, anyways, before we get into that, Jinx gets totally, I wouldn't say baited, but she basically tries to run Soraka down but fails. Here I'm trying to run Orianna down, and I'm one auto away from getting it, but unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to get it. I launch my arrow, she actually flashes, so I do get the Orianna flash at least, so that is, I guess it's fine, but we do get the kill onto the Jinx, who really, really greeted over that Soraka kill. And, yeah. So, going pretty swimmingly so far. We get a plate, might even get a second plate here. Looks like we are going to get it, but we do share it with Soraka. Now, Jinx is now back. Orianna is going to make her way back really soon off of her reset. We're trying to force a third plate, but unfortunately, we're not quite going to get it. So, yeah, we're once again, we're running out of mana a little bit, so that's not, not very good. But hey, what can we do about it? So here, all we're trying to do is trying to CS, and also you can see how much mana is being consumed when we pop the Q. Here I believe Soraka is actually AFK, and then I believe she AFK'd there for a second, because I don't believe she stood still there for 2 seconds on purpose. So I think she AFK'd for like 2 seconds, and then she got back into the game. Like maybe, I wouldn't say AFK, she lagged, right? So she lagged out a little bit, and then she got back into the game, but unfortunately she lagged out at the wrong moment, because that basically caused her to not walk up, but stay a little bit too far up, and she does end up dying here. So a little bit unfortunate there, but it kind of is what it is. We still have pretty much the most gold in the game, pretty much 1k above most people on the enemy team. Mordekaiser tries to come in for a gank, but it doesn't quite work out. So here, we're gonna go for the dragon. Now here, I really need this fruit, and Vega just walks straight into me. So here, I'm just gonna burst him down using my ulti as well. Bad news is that now I don't have my ulti anymore, and I'm back to having like kind of no mana. So here, I'm just auto attacking the dragon here. The enemy team is trying to attempt to enter the area to contest. Jinx is like 1 HP and gets run down by Volibear. And a full-on fight is now breaking on multiple low HP bars. I have to avoid the Veigar cage, which is pretty well placed. Here I Ghost Port, try to take out Veigar. Veigar goes down. I do get the reset on Varus' passive. Maokai is not really the target we want to hit, but he's the only one that we can really reach. So Orianna is really, really low. Maokai is also really low at this point. So here, unfortunately, we can't. No one really wants to dive, so I'm just channeling Recall. But here, Volibear attempts to go in. Now here you see, I try to follow up here, but Volibear essentially gets one shot and causes me to tank the tower because he runs out of the tower. I die, Morgana tanks the tower and she dies, and Volibear gets out scot-free basically. So essentially, we got baited by our own Volibear. So essentially, I guess in the end we did get both we did get both Orianna as well as Maokai, but me and Orianna died for it. Me and Morgana died for it, which is not really a good outcome because Like your mid laner and your ADC generally are your two main carries in general. And if you trade those two for the enemy support and top lane tank, I don't really think that's a very good trade. So we kind of got baited by a Volibear there, and we bite the dust. But hey, it is what it is. We're still in a really decent spot. Soraka even kind of helped us save most of the wave. So we are able to farm up this wave, so we don't lose too much in the grand scheme of things. And yeah, it's pretty much all good. So anyways, here what's gonna happen is we're gonna go back to basically wave clearing. We can obviously fight Jinx if she gets anywhere close. We're 1k gold up on her. She doesn't even have a full item yet, and yeah. So here, however, we are just letting the wave push in. We can see Orianna now is rotating to top to contest the Herald, as is Soraka. So at most it's gonna be ADC versus ADC here. I don't know if Jinx has actually recalled. Turns out she actually has, because you can see in the replay too, she has picked up her Bloodthirster. Of course, in the game itself, I couldn't really know that, aside from the fact that she's missing on the map. I could guess that she recalled. So here I'm just forcing the tower, right? Because she can't really stop me from getting this tower. I am still way ahead of her. Although now we both are at one item and boots. So I'm not that far ahead of her. But one thing I have that she doesn't is a rank 2 ultimate, right? I'm level 9, she's only halfway to level 9. And she doesn't have her rank 2 ultimate yet. So here, for some reason, she's actually stepping really far up. So I'm now just auto-attacking her for free while she's auto-attacking the minions. I'm getting a lot of shots on her. I basically kill her without even using my Q. Like, my ulti did like half of her health almost. And she basically just gets one shot by me. I think she got let herself get attacked for free one too many times, which allowed my lethal sample to stack up to a point where I'm attacking a little bit faster than her. And she does end up just going down just like that. So now with that, we get basically half of our board, and now we're back to lane. Orianna has pushed in the wave, and we're just gonna quickly pick that one up. And yeah, not anything too interesting so far. We haven't really got into those team fights because we're still kind of in that phase where we're just basically just farming. And since we have a little bit of downtime, we're even gonna farm the Krugs, seeing as Mordekaiser is on the opposite side of the map, and he's not likely to get to his Krugs anytime soon. Now here I'm going back to my wave, and I basically have 3 minions left to farm. Talon pops the Gorilla turret and bot, but the Gorilla turret has to melt through the whole turret. So here, Jinx once again is tanking my damage for free, and we all know how that's gonna turn out. So here I basically kill her without even using any of my spells. I ghost forward, chase Talon. He unfortunately does dodge my ulti. However, with my ghost and my flash, I'm able to basically run him down and kill him. Now this is of course at the cost of the tower, but I'm not sure if bounties had come up yet. If there was a bounty, it's a little bit less worth, but getting rid of Jinx again and putting her insanely far behind, as well as getting rid of the Talon, who was actually 3-1 and pretty far ahead at that point in time, I think is a pretty good deal. And the fact that I even 1v2'd the situation is already pretty insane, right? Because I literally 1v2'd enemy ADC and the enemy assassin who is fed. Like 3-1 Talon is really fed, right? So I think that's a win. So here, I'm just quickly trying to clear up the mid lane. Volibear is like randomly fighting like 1v3 or the 2v3, 2v4 at the top lane. So here I'm trying to come over and help. He manages to get a triple here with a little bit of help from me. And I'm trying to pick up this red buff. And Volibear tries to yoink it, but thankfully I do end up, getting the buff. Here we even have the Scorpion to help us with the push on top lane tower, which we are probably going to get. Volibear passive is causing him to proc onto the Maokai and causing him to take tower aggro, but we do get the tier 2 tower, and then we can even rotate to mid if needed and get that, but it really isn't needed, so instead we're just going to walk back out. I was actually trying to take the Hex Gate to go down to the Dragon, but Soraka basically stole the Hex Gate from me and she took it instead, which is, I'm fine with that, right? Because I don't really know if any enemies at the enemy blue buff, so it could be dangerous, so I don't really mind Soraka basically face checking the enemy blue buff. I'm going to take the long way to the dragon, and I'm here. So I'm 2 items in the dragon fight. I'm trying to stand behind people so I don't get rooted by the Maokai. And here I'm just hitting basically the Maokai because he's the only person I can really reach. I burst him down, focusing the next target, which is I really can't see. But basically, yeah, we just kill whoever is there, essentially. It doesn't really matter who it is. We're just essentially just attacking whoever is there because they basically already used their spells on my team. So I'm really there just to clean up, right? They're not actually focusing me at all, which is kind of the dream scenario when they're the ADC. And of course, as usual, when we get the kills, we're going to go into the enemy jungle to steal their camps. And then we can go back to our own wave and pick up that wave. So here we're already past 10k gold, where we're really far ahead, so all we really need to do is play safe, maintain our lead, and just do damage and basically just win the game, right? Not too complicated job for an ADC. But of course, we always know that this kind of goes awry, very often. So once again, just farming it up. Oriana getting caught by Mordekaiser as well as Morgana. She goes down. Baron is basically spawning right now. I'm just going to recall and pick up my Runan's Hurricane, which I basically managed to farm up enough kills and gold just to straight up buy the entire Runan's Hurricane without the components. So I have my Runans here. I'm ready to fight. 3 items. Of course, we always know 3 items is kind of normally a magic number for ADCs. It's really where you really ramp up quite a bit. So here pings are coming out for Baron. I do think that is a decent idea considering both not both, but 2 people on the enemy team are dead. So here I'm headed straight to the Baron to help out my Mordekaiser. I actually don't think we need our whole team here to do Baron. I think that somebody could probably push out the top wave, and things like that, because we really don't need everybody, especially when the Baron is not even being contested. But we do, pick up the Baron as a team. I've obviously just reset, and I'm full health and like almost full mana, so obviously I don't actually need a reset, so I'm gonna kind of have to wait for my team to reset. And actually only Morgana actually reset, and she's gonna have to take the T-Hex here. But yeah. So here I'm not sure why we're all going to bot. I started realizing this doesn't make any sense. So I'm actually going back to mid. Like, why is my whole team going bot? Doesn't make any sense at all. And Soraka is now trying to solo clear the bot wave, which makes not a lot of sense either. But yeah. So here, yeah, we're just gonna push with the T-Hex, not too complicated. Talon dies to Volibear again on the side lane. Soraka is still trying to push in the wave. T-Hex actually knocks the enemies away, which is a really irritating part about TX. I hate I wouldn't say hate, but the new first ability of the TX basically just rams enemies away all the time, right? No one actually uses it the right way, which is like to clear waves and not to ram enemies away. And here, TX ult goes in on the enemy team instead of the tower, unfortunately, so that is not great. But yeah, so here we're waiting for the wave to come in, and now we don't have TX ulti for the wave. So now we're in a situation where I'm kind of stuck in the Veigar cage, although no one is actually hitting me, but I actually hit someone by accident, so I'm going to flash out so I don't tank tower shots or get CC'd under tower. That would be a disaster. So no choice but to pop flash. I think Runan's actually betrayed me there, if I'm not wrong. I think Runan's actually caused me to take tower aggro, but I'm not quite sure. TX ulti is now going in onto the tower, but it does no damage because there are no minions there. So again, really poor use of the TX ulti once again. But we do get the mid lane tower eventually, and we're going to rotate top and see if we can get the top lane tower as well. So enemy team is having a real tough time kind of defending all of these lanes. Oriana ult hits only the Soraka, not too big of a deal. Now the enemy team looks like they are trying to finally make a stand. I'm just gonna hide behind somebody so I don't get hit by the ult, but I get hit anyway. But anyway, now I'm going ham. I have basically full stack lethal tempo here. I'm just blasting whoever I can, and here we basically just blast everybody into next week. And snipe onto the Maokai. Only Oriana is left alive. We're gonna lifesteal off of these minions, take out the tower, and now go ahead and focus the base. Only Oriana is left alive, and we're just kind of seeing if we can have some fun and get her. But obviously she's pretty safe in the base. And here she manages to basically clear the wave, but the next wave actually comes, and we're able to easily end the game right there. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. Of course, thank you guys so much for watching. I'm gonna leave you guys with the stats as usual, and goodbye.